does continue. Dr. D and the Firm, the original Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Dr. D's Indie Showcase and Wrestling Marks of Excellence Radio, Fox Sports 1340. Big Time is on fire, and I'm telling you right now, I'm having the privilege once again to talk to this man first in a long time. The WWE Hall of Famer is in the building. Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret, how are you, sir?
Very good.
I appreciate having the chance to talk to you. A few years ago, I had the chance to be able to speak to you when you had debuted your book, and the last thing you had told me was you said that your book was your last statement in professional wrestling. It was your final statement at that time. Of course, we all know that since then, since that was the case, you have once again returned to WWE. You had patched things up with Shawn Michaels. You have done so much getting back into WWE. So shall we say this is a new chapter? I would like to believe this is a new chapter with you since your book came out.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's a good new chapter and a new beginning. A lot of things happened. My career as a capsule probably ends in '97.
Yeah.
Things that have happened after, I wouldn't say the match I had with Vince McMahon, as an example, would be one of my greatest technical matches.
Right.
It's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen there. It was still a great experience, and I'm glad that they gave me a chance to do all that. But in hindsight, I'm happy that I'm past all that. And I think it was good for me. It was good for the wrestling fans. It was good for Shawn Michaels, and it was good for Vince McMahon and the WWE. So it's been good for everybody. It's good. I would say it was a win-win for everybody, and we've all moved on a little bit since then. And, I think that's what you're talking about. It's funny that you bring that up. Is this, like when my book was finished, it was my final statement on everything. And, I'm really proud of my book, and I loved every bit of it. I wouldn't change one word in it. I think it still stands today as concrete, real story about what wrestling's all really about. And but I realized in the months and years afterwards that I thought that's how people would summarize my career. It's like, oh yeah, Bret Hart, he's the guy that was so bitter after WrestleMania and never got over it, and that was bad for the rest of his life kind of thing. And I thought, that's not really the way it is. I sound like I'm bitter and angry about what happened. And I certainly didn't like what they did to me. And I certainly don't ever forget it. And I don't forgive everything that happened either, but you have to move on, and I think that's what it was. I realized when I wrote that book that it left people with sort of like, boy, he's an angry man, and I'm not that angry anymore. I stood my ground. I made my point. I wrote that book, and I said everything I need to say, and I thought that's ended right there. But as you can tell, there's still little spurts of wrestling life that have happened after.
And one of the things that is an example of that is people that have been watching the WWE Network, the show Legends House, you see that there's a lot of history that goes back with the superstars of the 80s, and there's still been a lot of things that have not been resolved that I guess we were able to see resolved at the Legends House. Have WWE contacted you about doing the Legends House?
No, and they better not. The concept is a fun concept. I mean, I would, if I could have Legends House, if I could pick, how many guys were in that house?
I would say there was the Mouth Piper, Hillbilly, about 8, Mean Gene.
You hadn't have enough for
Pat Patterson, so it was around 8. Tony Atlas, Hacksaw, so that was 8.
Gene and Pat, and there was Piper and Duggan.
Tony and
Jimmy latched on to it.
Jimmy, I believe, was with Hillbilly. And then there was Tony, and there was Tony. Let's see, was it okay? Pat, Mean Gene, Tony, Hillbilly, Piper, Jimmy, and did I say Hacksaw? Howard Finkel. That's right.
Anyway, it's an interesting concept. It would have been fun to be in a house like with Piper and Duggan. Those two guys I get along with. I could I could hang with them anytime. But
Yeah.
if I had to do the whole thing, they said, look, you got to do a Legends House, and you can pick whoever you want. I would have to pick Neidhart.
Yeah.
I'd have to pick the Berserker.
Yeah. Oh, wow. North.
He was so much funny.
John North.
He's one of the funniest guys in wrestling ever.
Yeah.
And I imagine he's still the same, but I haven't seen him for an eternity.
Yeah.
You need somebody like Brian Blair in there. Just
Oh, wow. Be Brian Blair.
Be Brian Blair. Be fun to offset everything.
Yeah.
Big Show. He'd be a lot of fun in a place like that. I don't know. You know, I got along with almost every wrestler I ever worked with.
Yeah.
Around. So I could pick a lot of Iron Sheik. Would be a lot of fun.
That's who I originally thought was going to be in there.
Iron Sheik and Berserker under one roof like that. Stuff, you know. The Anvil would always be a lot of fun. I'd have a lot of fun with Jim under any circumstance.
And how is the Anvil doing? Unfortunately, we didn't have the chance to see him with you last week and this week.
Well, Jim's got some health issues that he's going to deal with, and the only thing about Jim is he's as strong as an ox. And he's a tough guy, and he's just got to get through what he's going through health-wise, and we're all pretty optimistic right now that Jim will come back and be the same old Anvil that we all know.
Yeah, and with that being said, Bret, I would like to believe that it's a guarantee somewhere down the future that the Hart Foundation will be inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame altogether. But let me ask you, how would you rather have it? Because we're talking about, of course, yourself and Jim, the foundation of the foundation, as well as the mouth of the South. But do you see the entire foundation from past and present, meaning Mouth, Anvil, yourself, in addition to Bulldog, your brother Owen, and Pillman in the Hall of Fame? Do you see the whole Hart Foundation being inducted?
No. I just see me and Jim going.
Okay.
I mean, Jimmy was part of us for 2 years, and he was a big part of the beginning and how we started and everything. But Jimmy's in the Hall of Fame now for being a manager.
Right.
And Jim and I were together 6 years, so we had 4 years without him. So we had more time together without him. Jimmy was a great manager, and we had nothing but great memories with him. But the core of the brunt of the work that we did was together, just me and Jim, and I think that's how we'd want to celebrate it. As much as we love Jimmy, and Jimmy's already got his award or whatever. So I think I would look at it more as an opportunity to celebrate the Hart Foundation, as I remember it, with Jim Neidhart and myself, as both heels and baby faces. And Jim, though it's no Hall of Fame, it can't be a really good Hall of Fame if the greatest tag team that WWE ever had wasn't in there. And I know that you can talk about the Road Warriors or the Rockers or whoever you want, but the Hart Foundation were the greatest tag team.
Let me ask you this, and I'm glad you have brought that up, and because I wanted to have the chance to talk to you and Anvil about some of the other tag teams of the 80s that I'm sure we would have loved to have seen you against. Teams like the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Fabulous Freebirds. Some of those teams, even the British Bulldogs, have been able to face. And I would like to know, how would you and Anvil measure up with teams such as those that you guys never faced back in the 80s?
Well, there was a lot of good teams, but Jim and I worked really well with smaller guys, faster guys, like a lot of guys that like to do a lot of action, a lot of fast-paced. The Rock and Roll Express were exactly like that, and they were a lot like the Rockers.
Right.
We had some brilliant matches with the Rockers, so I think we could have some damn good matches with those guys. We had a couple of matches in WWE with the Brainbusters. But probably enough. I'd love to have worked with them in, say, the Five Horsemen days. They were a great team. I think of some teams like the Connection or Tom Zink and Rick Martel that didn't really pan out. We worked with them and ended up being the Strike Force with people. But originally the Tom Zink was a great wrestler, and Rick Martel was a great wrestler. And no offense to Tito, but we would like to have done more stuff with those guys years ago. And even the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom, we worked with them one time.
That's WrestleFest '91.
That's when Hawk got all messed up on pills and screwed up the match for everybody.
Oh.
Like, everyone was, Animal and me and even Neidhart were all excited to find that these two great teams are going to wrestle each other. It was the only time that we were ever going to wrestle each other. And Hawk got all messed up just about 2 minutes before he walked out to the ring.
Wow.
He ended up like a zombie out there. And anyone watches the match back, I think it's on some DVDs.
WrestleFest 91 on Coliseum Video. I still have it.
It was a decent match. You imagine if Hawk had actually showed up for work that day and actually was clear-headed and ready to go, we would have had so much a better match. He let everybody down. And I think when you look back at that Stampede pay-per-view with the Hart Foundation against and Hawk was in that.
Yeah.
I remember he came up to me earlier in that day and he said, "This is going to make up for that match I screwed up for a long time ago." He said, "This match is dedicated to your dad tonight." And I remember that. That's what Mike or Hawk said to me. And, I know that meant, it was like, having great matches between each other, like wrestlers, like the Road Warriors are wrestling the Hart Foundation. It might have been a big match to the fans. It might have been a big match to the booking or Vince McMahon or history, but as big a match as it was bigger to me and bigger to Joe and bigger to Hawk and Anvil as it was anybody. We really had a lot of respect for one another.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with the legendary Bret the Hitman Hart. And tell me this right now, how do you describe your relationship currently with WWE? I know you still make appearances. We even seen you down in NXT, and then that's another thing. How do you like the NXT brand?
I really like a lot of the talent they got down there. I got nothing but thumbs up about everything I've seen. It's a real good school with students coming out like a cookie cutter machine. They're just popping out one wrestler after another. But they're good. I sometimes wonder about the people that are teaching the wrestlers, like how skilled are the teachers. They're all good teachers, so I have nothing to say about anybody that is bad or that.
Right.
I wonder sometimes if there's some maybe better teachers or people that have a better understanding of wrestling psychology and what you need to know going into the future of wrestling. I think you have a lot of guys that got the same old tired ideas that were done a long time ago. I don't know you're going to get a lot of improvement. You got to expand your horizons, and I find a lot of the wrestling is starting to become very. Everyone's very similar. Everyone wrestles the same. Everyone sounds the same. Everyone looks the same. Nobody is big, strong, badass wrestlers like. Where are the Hogans and the Bundys and the big, giant, all the dinosaurs are gone. It's all little mosquitoes and little bugs and stuff. Listen to the giants and the animals, the big time elephants of wrestling, and there's none anymore. I always thought Brodus Clay would have stepped into that better and been a big Bundy kind of wrestler that could have been a top draw, but they butchered him and killed him right off and turned him into a cartoon and a clown.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for being bitter today about that.
Yeah. So, last question. If there was I'm sure you get this a lot, if there is one superstar currently that you would like to come out of retirement, quote unquote, and get back in the ring with, who do you think that would be?
Oh, there's so many guys I would like to have one match with.
Right.
I was going to say for a long time it was Kurt Angle.
Yeah, yes you did.
I'd love to wrestle Kurt Angle. I would love to wrestle Rey Mysterio just one time.
Yeah.
Just because he was so unique and such a talented guy, and CM Punk would have been great. Daniel Bryan would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have probably had some awesome matches. Like him or not, I would have had some great matches with John Cena.
Yeah.
That sort of wholesome good guy image that John Cena's got, pitted against that sort of Canadian American basher Bret Hart from say the 90s.
Yeah.
Would have been a real good. That would have been a good clash.
I'm kind of seeing that almost with you and Austin in the past. I'm kind of seeing that again with Dean Ambrose and John Cena. We're kind of seeing that double turn almost, what's going on right now, like it was at WrestleMania 13. You think?
Maybe. I remember talking to Dean Ambrose just the day before actually WrestleMania. And I was telling him what a good villain he was, and how nobody could. What I liked about him is that nobody was going to ever cheer him.
Yeah.
and they turned him babyface the next 3-4 days later, which I think was a big mistake.
Yeah.
You know, they were stuck with Punk leaving, and they needed to fill
Right.
a void with him,
Right.
so they did. But he had so much mileage left as a heel. And,
Yeah.
I love him as a babyface. He's a great worker. He's one of the better stars of tomorrow. He's going to be he's a great wrestler, and I wish I could have worked with him.
Yeah.
Cesaro is another great wrestler. I have nothing but respect for his work style.
Yeah.
He's not like everybody else, but he's different, and it's so hard to be different and just, you know, he brings out he's got to be for sure the best quality European wrestler in the business today.
Yeah.
And same with Punk, for sure, or Daniel Bryan. It's hard to say which one of those two would be better, but they're both two of the better American wrestlers in the style that they've brought forth in the last 10 years. They've raised the game a lot, and I didn't think it could be done. I mean, I honestly think that when I left wrestling, that everything had been done just about. But I realize now that there's lots of innovators and lots of new creating.
Yeah. How's your family? I said that was the last question, but how's your family?
Oh, my family's good.
And any of your kids have talked about possibly getting in, or
no?
Nah.
Not for some reason. We're all too shy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank once again the legendary WWE Hall of Famer, the excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart. Again, thanks to Big Time Wrestling for bringing him out, and we'll see you soon.